For many, this is the stuff of nightmares. Australia's most feared and highly venomous snakes all together in one spot. But rather than avoiding them at all costs, these people are getting close, very close, and learning how to safely interact with potentially deadly snakes.
All right, go for it. Keep pace. Keep on the left side of him. Go by the neck. Lifting. You got to have basically at the neck. Look at him go.
We offer venomous snake handling training and snake ecology courses. We get people from professional backgrounds. So these are ecologists, they might be fauna spotters. They're people that are going to use snake handling skills in their profession, in their day-to-day job.
So whenever you see a photo...
Australia is often considered the epicentre for all things venomous, and our snakes are up there with the most terrifying. But there are plenty of people, both in the bush and in towns and cities, who encounter snakes regularly and need to know how to deal with them, both harmless and otherwise.
I've been assisting my partner for the last year and a half doing snake catching because she is the local snake catcher in the area.
Get that bag low, 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 low. Yes, well done.
So I work for Rivermount College, which is a private school down in Yatala. I'm part of their maintenance team and groundskeeping. Just yesterday there was a eastern brown. Didn't touch it because I hadn't had the training yet, but yeah, encountered one of them yesterday, and then probably a week prior to that, a green tree snake, which I just removed and took down to our river walk, which is along the Albert River.
And let him go. Beautiful, well done.
I'm a wildlife spotter catcher, so I go out on job sites and catch any fauna that might be caught up during projects.
Chris Hay and Dr Christina Zdenek are both self-confessed snake-obsessed. Chris's parents allowed him to keep snakes as a young boy, and instead of a dog or cat, Christina grew up with a boa constrictor as the family pet.
Snakes are beautiful, fascinating creatures. I get the same sort of feeling looking at a brightly coloured parrot as I do a brightly coloured snake, so I see real beauty in them.
Chris has worked with snakes in a variety of zoos and reptile parks, both in Australia and overseas, over the past 4 decades. And Christina is a scientist who spent years studying snakes, as well as working hands-on with the reptiles, doing travelling snake shows, scientific fieldwork and anti-venom testing. Both are passionate about increasing public understanding of the reptiles.
So I've just seen how society views snakes in such a negative and unfairly maligned manner. And I viewed them in completely the opposite way, you know, beautiful, mysterious, something we should try to understand and try to live with.
Yes, you enjoy yourself.
Not everyone will be quite as accommodating as Chris and Christina when it comes to coexisting with snakes, though. The couple share their home with a collection of 40 reptiles, about 25 of which are venomous snakes.
We've got coastal taipans, inland taipan, eastern brown snake, Collett's black snake, red-bellied black snake, death adders, tiger snakes, pale-headed snakes, Wilma pythons, and, strap-snouted brown snake.
The animals in the facility are long-term captive, meaning they've been captive bred, generally in another collection or a zoo. Still, there's really no such thing as a tame venomous snake, and keeping and handling these reptiles is not for the faint-hearted. When the enclosures are cleaned or when the snakes are fed, it's hands-on, and both Chris and Christina must have their wits about them. One small misstep could be costly.
Our snakes are very quick, fast-moving snakes. Like, to handle these snakes is no joke.
But outside of this facility, in a real-world scenario, Chris and Christina argue the potential for a deadly snake encounter is often overstated.
I always say that in the snake-human relationship, we are the predator and they are the prey. And because of that, we'll always have that upper hand on them. Snakes rarely, if ever, will confront a human being. It's too risky.
In fact, in Australia, you're more likely to die from a bee or wasp sting than from snake bite. Even so, you'd be hard-pressed to find too many people more frightened of insects than they are of snakes. Dr. Christina Zdenek says that's because when it comes to snakes, there are a lot of persistent myths.
That they're aggressive, that they want to chase us and strike at us and bite us, and the opposite couldn't be more true. Snakes by default are cowards, and they will do everything they can to avoid a confrontation with humans because we're deadly to them.
We just want the truth to get out there about snakes. They're not evil creatures. They're actually quite easygoing.
Easygoing or otherwise, all snakes must be treated with respect, and understanding them better helps to make this possible.
So, guys, each of you are going to have a go with one of these two snakes.
At this snake handling course, participants have to work their way up to wrangling the venomous animals. Understandably, they start out handling less dangerous snakes.
Now, they are pythons, guys, so they are completely harmless. Keep in mind, though, they're not the friendliest of pythons.
The class is shown step by step the correct handling techniques.
You just need to make that hook effective and not too close to the head.
And walk through why it's important to do things a certain way.
Hook goes in underneath the animal. We twist it up. As I start to lift up, the animal flows towards me. Hook down onto the front part of the body, just like so.
Practicing capturing a python, which poses little to no threat, is one thing. A highly venomous snake is an entirely different matter.
It's great to actually get some hands-on experience, and obviously it's usually high-tension situations, so it really helps kind of like calm you down and know that when you're in that situation in the field, you can approach it in a much calmer way. Yeah.
The participants are learning both non-contact and contact handling techniques, depending on the type of snake they're working with. For example, the death adder that they're handling now is non-contact because there's simply not enough of the snake for it to be held and hooked safely. If it chose to, it could complete its strike in 1/20th of a second.
Both Chris and Christina are passionate about sharing how best to mitigate the risks when it comes to all snakes, particularly for those people more likely to encounter them in their day-to-day.
Front third of the body on the ground, assess the animal. What is it doing? It's facing the other direction. Perfect opportunity to put the hook down, pick the bag up. I'm going to give the snake a little lift into the centre of the bag like so. Make sure it goes right to the bottom.
To know about them and be aware, and I guess a lot of the times people are bitten is just out of mistakes that we make or getting scared or trying to kill it.
When you're handling venomous snakes, can be nerve-wracking, but yeah, the more and more you do it, you get more and more confident, and snakes aren't there to hurt you. They're living their life. You're in their habitat, really.
One of the key messages Chris wants people to consider is that the risk doesn't end when a snake is captured.
You need to be very careful about snakes in bags. Take it from experience, I have been bitten and envenomated twice through bags containing a snake. So just because it's bagged does not mean it's safe. I'm actually hyper aware once the animal's like this. You can't see it, you don't know what's going on.
Chris has actually had 5 hospitalisations from venomous snake bites over the course of his 40-year career. Christina has also been bitten, just once, but that was enough.
We don't brag about the fact that we've been bitten. We obviously don't want to, and we'll try to prevent as much as we can.
But we can learn a lot from a snake envenomation, and that's the way I've always looked at it.
Sharing their experiences, the good and the bad, is an important part of the education offered to those who do this course, as is some fundamentals for first aid in the event of a snake bite.
So in my case, we had the bandage on within 30 seconds and we were at hospital within 8 minutes.
Australia has good access to high-quality anti-venom. Chris and Christina believe no one here should ever die from a snake bite.
You know, we've got the Royal Flying Doctor Service. As long as you do that first aid, the stretchy elastic bandage, pressure immobilization technique, and to stand still, don't go crazy, keep that blood rate down, that heart rate down, then you'll be in good hands.
As well as a basic understanding of first aid, the couple want to encourage more people to educate themselves about snakes in general and their behaviours. Chris says it'd help both to keep people safe and snakes.
Boom.
I think it wouldn't only put people's minds at ease and make them feel a bit more comfortable, it would hugely benefit snakes because the attitudes would change.
On farms and properties across rural Australia, snakes are more likely to be encountered, and plenty of people in remote areas relocate the animals themselves. And let's be honest, plenty also just get hit on the head with a shovel. But Christina says killing snakes is not the answer.
People don't realise all the benefits that snakes are providing for humans from a disease perspective, but also from a financial perspective. So rats and mice would probably be very abundant in among suburbs if snakes weren't there keeping those numbers down. So not to mention the ticks and the fleas that live on those rats and mice that can carry diseases.
Vermin control doesn't make headlines though. What does is deadly snake encounters.
Australia's leading cause of snake bite and snake bite death. If any snake has a bad public relations issue, it is the eastern brown snake. I mean, back in the day when I was learning, you had to basically learn through experience, whether that went good or bad. So it's great to be able to offer this sort of thing to people. Things rarely go to plan, and it's great. I want things to go wrong. I want things to be difficult. That was excellent, mate, and good problem solving.
Empowering people with the knowledge and tools to interact with snakes as safely as possible is the end goal, but it comes with a caveat.
You know, it's not a ticket to go and chase taipans down the road and catch eastern brown snakes, but it's the start of a journey.
Not everyone is cut out to wrangle a venomous snake, and nor should they. But in a country that's home to as many of the world's most venomous snakes as Australia, being snake aware is a must.
Stay still to stay safe. That's the saying that should be stuck in your mind. If you encounter a snake, you just stop moving and you're not going to scare that snake into a strike.